Swear or affirm the testimony you will give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir. Put your hand up. Mr. Harris, have a seat right here, please, sir. Watch yourself, please. Mr. Hitchner, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Harris.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Stephen Harris, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, Harris, H-A-R-R-I-S.
And Mr. Harris, I'm going to ask just a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
41,
And where do you live?
Carryville.
You from Memphis?
Yes,
Did you grow up here?
born and raised.
You have family here?
I do.
What's your connection to this case?
The deceased person is my father.
Danny Harris was your dad.
He was.
How old were you when he was killed?
21, 22.
Did you attend the original trial
I
back
did.
in 2010?
I did.
Do you know Andrew Hayes?
I do now.
You know who he is now?
Yeah.
Have you and him ever met before?
No.
Did you know Tammy Vance?
No,
Did you know Sarah Lucas?
I did not.
Back in 2007, before your dad was killed, were you and him close?
Yeah, we all were.
What you know about what was going on in his life and Tammy Vance, her relationship with him?
So he was a bad alcoholic. So we kind of cut things off with him to try to get him to fly straight. So 2007 was kind of, we weren't as close as we'd like to been, but we were at a distance. So and as far as Tammy Vance, I had no recollection of her until after the fact, but I do know they met somehow, probably on the chat line.
You didn't know that she had been staying at his
No,
place?
not at all.
And is it fair that given what was going on with his life, kind of where it was with the family, it made sense that even after he was killed, that's why people didn't find out about it for some time?
Right. We were all kind of just waiting for the phone call from him to let us know that he needed, help getting, sobered up and stuff like that. So we were just waiting.
Your dad was retired?
He was.
What did your dad do for a living?
Air National Guard.
Stephen, how did you and I meet?
I was notified by the state that you were going to be doing some kind of hearing out of Nashville or around there, and they offered for me to come or to watch it on a YouTube link. And
Okay.
later, I think it was a week later, ended up watching it, and then I reached out to you.
Do you remember when that was about?
Oh man, August, May, or something like that.
August of last year?
Yes, of last year. Yeah.
So there was a hearing in this case, and you watched the online feed of it?
Correct. Yeah.
And then did you call me after you watched that?
I did. Yeah.
Why did you call me?
Some of the things you talked about were some things that that actually was, that I believed or, I was curious about. I reached out to you just hoping that maybe I could get clarification on some of that and just to see if there was more to it.
Did you have some lingering questions about what had happened in this case?
Oh, yeah.
Even back from years ago?
Correct, I did.
Why is that?
It just never, knowing my father, it never made sense. And then even to do with Sarah, when she was called to the stand, we all thought, my whole family thought she was lying, and we thought there was more to that than what they were telling us.
So when you and I started talking, did you ask to review materials?
I did. Yeah.
Tell me what you were asking for and why you wanted to see it.
I've never had a full understanding of the whole thing. We were just we were all just told, this is what happened, this is how it happened, and so not ever truly knowing for myself, I figured if you let me go over all the documents, I would be able to come up with some, on my own.
Did I give you the documents?
You did?
Was it a lot of material that you reviewed?
It was a lot, yeah.
Did we continue to talk after you reviewed that?
We did.
Why was that?
I still had a lot of questions. I was still firm that Andrew was, guilty, but my whole thing was I thought Sarah was a part of it too, so I wanted to get her wrapped up, and brought to justice for it. But I mean, I was still convinced that Andrew was part of it.
When we first started talking, was your motivation to get involved with this to help free Andrew Hayes?
No, not at all.
What were you hoping to get out of it?
Sarah, or get some information that I just wanted to know everything and be able to put that to rest, basically.
And is it fair to say that the initial conversations that we had, we were both cautious with each other?
Yeah, we were.
At some point, did you tell me that you wanted to try to reach out to Sarah Lucas?
I did, yeah.
And talk a little bit about that conversation.
I just thought maybe, the way the prosecution flew her in originally for his trial, wiped away her warrants and everything, that she thought she was coming in to be the hero to save the trial. So I figured if I kind of went that way and said, hey, they're trying to get Andrew out of prison, I need you to help me keep him locked up. Just tell me everything you know. I figured that she would.
So, how did you find her?
Kind of on y'all's coattail. Like I called her family members, Tyler, to try to get a working phone number. Eventually, after 5 or 6 different Facebook accounts, I found what I thought was her active one, and then I sent her a message saying, "You look just like your mother," thinking that would get a response, and it did.
Tell me about the response.
She said, I want to say she was asking, "Who is this?" And I said, "Do you recognize my last name?" And then she put together, "So you're Danny's son?" But it helped that fact that y'all have already reached out to her, the investigator did. She knew there was a podcast, there was things out there, so she knew I just wasn't coming out of the blue, so I was able to use that as a backstory. And I said, "Hey, can we talk on the phone?" And we talked that night on the phone.
Were you surprised that she was willing to talk to you?
No, everybody else was, but no, I was pretty sure I was going to be able to get it done.
So, when you first start talking to her, tell us a little bit about what these initial conversations are like.
Trying to make her feel secure that I was not up to anything, that I was not a cop. She asked me that a few times. She remembered that I had brothers that were police officers. And then I just tried to be as friendly with her and seem like I was caring, that, I was concerned for her, and I needed, and that if she would work with me, that this would help us both by keeping them locked up, and it would eventually go away and she wouldn't be in trouble.
Tell me a little bit more about her. What did you start to learn about her and her life, and kind of what was going on with her in 2025?
Probably about the same as it was in 2007, just on drugs, poor, super bad health. She had a daughter that she adopted from one of her family members. And I don't know if that she really truly cared about the kid, but to me it seemed more like it was just about money, getting government money. But yeah, we would talk at night. She had a lot of health issues.
Did she ever ask you for help?
Yeah, she did. She would, if she could borrow $20, $50, something like that, or anything, which to keep her talking and keep her kind of on the, not thinking I was up to anything, I'd send her $20, $50 to go to the grocery store to get medicine, and we even talked about, quit smoking, and I said, you ought to go buy some patches, I'd pay for them, just trying to make her believe that I cared.
Was she, during your initial conversations, was she willing to talk about the case?
Yeah, at first it was, she'd admit, we talked a little bit, but then she would always, so I don't really want to talk about that right now, because I've forgotten a lot, I don't know this, blah, blah, blah. So I just would bring it up, and then once, she pushed back, I'd let it go, and then I'd bring it up again, and just eventually every time I called her, it would be more talking about the case.
And why did you continue to keep talking to her? Why did you continue to keep pushing?
I knew from the moment I talked to her that she was lying to me about stuff she knew, and I really truly felt I was going to find out everything.
point, did you try to come up with other ways to get her to open up and talk about what happened in the case?
Yeah, I got pretty creative.
Talk to me about that.
You know, she knew there was a podcast out there, and I kind of used that as like, hey, maybe we can do a book deal together, and you know, just any way I could keep the line of communication there. So I said, look, if you maybe sit down with an interview about the case or about your mom is what I brought up. So it's nothing about you, but we'll just talk about your mom and my dad. You know, she was messed up, he was messed up, and so I kind of put it that way and said, if you can help me, we can write a book and I can get it sold and we can both get paid.
And did she keep talking to you?
She did.
You and I still talking? What was?
No, not so much, because I was trying. I didn't want to. I didn't know everything I knew until I got to the end of, you know, with her. But also, I didn't want to jeopardize. I didn't want him out while she was still out there. So I was trying to be cautious on how I was doing it. And in the beginning, I still had no doubt that he was guilty. I mean, that's what I mean, all the way until, you know, the late conversations and after I got through all the documents you sent me.
And we're going to get there, but to cut to the chase a little bit. When you finished talking to her and when you got through all those documents, did your feelings on Andrew Hayes change?
Yeah, I did.
I want to play you some of the recordings with Sarah, and I want to ask you some questions about them. Let's go ahead and play the first one, please. Your Honor, would it be all right to turn the television on so we can play a recording? Absolutely. Thank you.
That's a nice road. That's a nice road.
Right. Thank you.
Tell me what happened, exactly what happened.
My
Just
mom,
don't lie to me.
first I'll say, my mom came to argue. They
Over what?
over here. You know, we're mad against the principal.
You know, I got back from Westminster, walking through everything. I want to know everything so I know I'm not missing out on anything, and I want to know everything. That's all I've asked for you.
Okay.
I said I would play ball with you if you would take care of me.
Okay, we got back from Westminster, they were still arguing. He sat down in the chair, she went in the room, he got up, went in the room. My mom came out, said they were just gonna sit there for a little bit and talk. I said, okay, I'll be out here. I didn't get in their business like that. Well, next thing I know, she hollers for me, and I go in there, and she beat him in the face with a hammer.
Did you hold the pillow over his face? Yes or no? Tell the fucking truth.
The pillow over his face. I don't know, I might have that part. I mean, I don't remember a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I'll take
Okay.
everything.
You were helped out. You helped her out, correct?
I helped her a little bit by, I think, holding something, but it might have been pillows.
Are you the one that put a rag in his mouth? Yes?
No, I didn't put a rag in his mouth. She did that. She's the one that
Why?
put bleach rag. I
In
don't
what?
know. Bleach in a rag.
He poured bleach on a rag?
Bleach on him in a rag.
So you held the pillow over his face, correct?
I might have, yeah.
Stephen, is that your voice on the recording?
It is.
And who are you talking to?
Sarah?
And are you the person that made that recording?
Yes.
All of the recordings that we're going to play in your phone conversations with her, did that all take place after you and I spoke back in August of 2025?
Yes, after the first time, yeah.
You've never been in law enforcement, have you?
No.
Do you have any formal training on how to interview a witness or talk to somebody?
ID network, TV, no, that's about it.
How did you know how to talk to them?
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't hard. The hard part was just listening to her voice, you know. But I just kept it simple. And if you know everything and you can tell when they're lying, you know, it wasn't hard.
How were you able to stay balanced when you hear her telling you about this and her involvement in your dad's murder? How were you able to keep your cool during that conversation?
I mean, you can tell I was pretty agitated right there. I think that was the only time I was really forceful with her. It was just like playing a part. I just I wasn't necessarily in the moment, you know. I was just trying to keep it simple, and then it hit me afterwards.
What was going through your head at the time when you heard her make these admissions?
Oh, I got her. Yeah, 100%. I got her.
You already told us you were at the original trial.
Yep.
These things that she said to you, are they consistent with what she told the jury at the original trial?
No, not at all. Matter of fact, the first thing I went after her on about the lie was the West Memphis driver's license and finding out that she was in the truck, and they picked her up. And so it was like the first phone call I had. I was like, oh, this is going to be easy.
Yeah, and so you know, we're not going to play all the calls here today. We're just going to play some of them, but the court has all the recordings have been submitted to the court. Did you always call her? Did
She started, she would text me randomly, you know, what are you doing? Always in the afternoon, and she was bored. But I knew if I went a day or two without talking to her, she'd get very agitated and kind of concerned, maybe. And I don't know if she fully trusted me 100% that I was not doing something. Can't imagine that she would say all this to a, victim's son and not think there was something coming. But in about 2 days, she would be texting me and saying, hey, is everything okay? Are you good? And then eventually she would call.
Did you get the feeling that after she would say these kinds of things to you that she was worried that at some point there would be a consequence of her making these admissions?
Yeah, but she was always paranoid though too. She would always talk about men showing up to her door in suits.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess when you live a life like that, you're always looking behind your shoulders.
All right, I want to play you another call.
So, when did she get the black coffee?
I guess he hit her in there. She did something to him and he hit her.
Why was it a hammer?
I don't know. That was what she used. That part she never told me. Like I said, I never knew why Timmy did the shit she did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what made you attack him too? I mean, because she was fighting with him?
I can't. I mean, she would do things and I was trying to do what she said.
Like what?
Like, I guess the pillow or whatever. But I didn't attack him.
You hit
I hated my mom back.
Say again?
I hated my mom back then.
Stephen, was Sarah saying, again, is that you on the phone call?
It is.
Who were you talking to?
Sarah.
And are you the person who recorded that phone call?
Yes.
Some of these things she's saying to you about the crime scene, like the hammer and the pillow, how does that fit in with the other information you knew from the file that you reviewed that I gave you?
I think the original trial, it was originally a pipe, lead pipe, that was supposed weapon. And we knew about bleach being used, and then the rag, so stuff like that I already knew. From the files is where we kind of started arguing about the difference in the weapon, and even Tammy mentioned it wasn't a pipe, it was a hammer. And I believe I read somewhere that she said that she was hanging up pictures in one of the bedrooms, and that's why the hammer was there. The pillow was from all the photos, and it looked like damn near his face was, it looked like somebody had placed it on his face. You could almost see the outline of his head. So those were things I would push to try to get her to, to admit to.
And she mentions, you ask her about the rag, and then she responds to you and talks about the bleach and the rag.
Yeah.
Her bringing up the bleach, is that consistent with things that you view from the crime scene photos?
Yeah, there was, you could tell somebody had thrown bleach on his body or even somewhere in the room. And it was droplets on the carpet. And then there was a little container with some weird white substance. They could never figure out what it was, but it was sitting right next to the bedroom on the desk. And so I assumed that had bleach in it.
Never, back at the trial in 2010, never really an explanation about the bleach, was there?
It was always that, the story was, it was always, they walked in, Andrew and Tammy threw bleach in his face, and then the attacks happened with the lead pipe then. So that was all
That's
we
what you
knew.
were told back
That's
then.
all we were told, yeah.
What she's telling you on this call, what she's bringing up about the bleach, very different than what you had been told in 2010?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Now play another call.
Look, if you get him with fucking hammer, that's fine.
I didn't get anybody.
You're gonna walk away if you just tell me the truth. That's all I'm asking for, so I can burn everything.
My mom did.
Say again?
I didn't get anybody, and my mom did.
It was just you and her, correct?
Yes.
Andrew was never there.
No.
God damn it, Sarah, that's all I fucking asked from you this whole time.
Why did you ask her if Andrew was there?
The call before that, I knew he wasn't there. It was like the previous day we spoke, so I knew going into this, I was going to try to figure this was going to be probably my last shot. I was going to get to go at her, so I just wanted to get whatever I could on basically everything. So I just wanted her to say that he wasn't there, and I mean, I was giving it my last shot, basically.
Did you give me that tape?
Eventually.
Why?
Oh, bunch of different reasons. I needed your help to, process it, and eventually because it was the right thing to do.
You told us before that when you went into this, your hope was to have Sarah held accountable, but you were not in this to help Andrew.
That's correct.
At some point after these conversations, what did you think about Andrew and his involvement?
That he wasn't there. That he's been locked up this whole time for something he didn't do.
You believe that?
I do.
Let me play another recording.
How did you want? Did you get to stick that thing? Well, yeah. Yeah.
Where'd you go up at?
In the toilet, cleaned it up. But I don't look for the toilet because I didn't think it that shot.
Was it on the back run?
It might have been.
Yeah. That's what y'all were washing. The back run.
Yeah.
All right, that was a little bit hard to hear, but those last two recordings, again, is that you and Sarah talking?
It is?
Or are you the person that recorded that?
Yes.
Sounds like you're asking Sarah about a bath rug from the crime scene.
Yeah.
Why are you asking her about that?
It was a weird photo that was in the list of stuff you gave me that, it showed a bath rug and a towel and like nothing else about it. So that just, when she mentioned she threw up, I knew that was the rack. I knew that bath mat was right in front of the toilet, so it kind of connected to the whole thing. I said, okay, that's why that was in the, y'all. I think she later went on and said that they turned on the washing machine and just left.
So we've got a crime scene photo from 2010 that shows the bath rug and the towel sitting in the washing machine.
Correct.
Back then, did you have any idea what that was about?
No, I don't think anybody did. I think they never, I don't even know if they ever did anything with it or tested it. So,
And is this yet another new piece of information that she's giving us that is corroborated by the evidence that we see at the crime scene?
yes, yeah. One of many.
When y'all take that moment when y'all left?
We didn't take anything. That part, I'm not, that's nothing missing. Except for maybe wallet, like that, but nothing else.
Truck.
Just the truck, yeah.
Is that you talking to Sarah?
It is.
Did you make that recording?
I did.
What is she confessing here to what she stole from your dad?
Possibly a wallet, which I believe, from what I remember, that was never found. We never, we did find his license, but his wallet was never on him. And obviously the truck, we all know about the truck.
All right, I want to play you one more recording there.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to go because I love your dad, but I'm not gonna show up to something that I'm probably gonna get my ass.
Oh, hell no, you wouldn't make it out of there alive.
No, I wouldn't have. And I thought about that day, I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I thought about, I wouldn't have made it out of there alive. Everybody would have killed me. Because everybody thought I did something and I didn't.
Yeah.
That's my mom.
Well, hang on now, the day of the funeral was October 31st. That was
Yeah.
right before y'all got picked up, so you knew he was dead before then, right?
Yeah.
When did you know that, though?
I don't remember the day.
Is that you and Sarah talking?
It is.
Did you record that?
I did.
All right. Tell us it's very obvious during that call that what she said you find interesting in the moment.
Yeah.
What is it about that conversation that jumped out at you right away that made you think this is important?
Well, I mean, because all the stuff that, all the documents I read, when her first time sitting down for the interview with the police, she said, this is the first time I knew about it. So I knew she was lying instantly. And that was like the first 10 minutes of us talking. So I was like, oh, this is easy. But also I knew, that was the day of the funeral. We picked up Tammy that day. And then, so if she knew about it before, so then she's lying. She lied to the police, she lied to everybody. So yeah, that was a red flag.
It was pretty clear to you, even just about a small conversation about the funeral, not about who did what, that she was lying.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
Stephen, at some point, did you sign an affidavit about these recordings that we also submitted to the court?
I did.
And I'm just going to ask you to look at it and identify it. Tell me if this was your affidavit and signature on here. And Your Honor, for the record, this is letter Z of Collective Exhibit 1. Stephen, is that your signature on
That is.
Let me ask you just a few questions. Stephen, your life probably would have been a lot easier if you never got back involved in this.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Why'd you do it?
Stupid. I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure it out myself. I've never been okay with how things obviously happened with my father, but I've never been okay with the story, and it's never made sense. So every year, 2 years, I Google it and pull up. I look at every appeal he had and reread the evidence or whatever was given, and it was always an itch that would never go away. So yeah.
Do you regret your decision to get to the truth of this?
No.
Who do you believe killed your dad?
Tammy Vance and Sarah Lucas.
Do you believe that Andrew Hayes is innocent?
I do.
Do you understand if Andrew gets to go home, it's because of you?
No, I mean, not just me, but
It's because of you.
I appreciate it. We'll see.
It's all right.
You need to see Ms. Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harrison.
Hey,
I will try and keep this as brief as possible, because I know everybody's ready to go to lunch. But I just have a couple questions for
Sure.
you. and this is really just gonna be to help the court flesh out the record. But I wanna start and just clarify. So when you got that confession from Sarah, you believed her, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you knew that she was lying previously because you had caught her giving incorrect details, right?
Yeah, and I spoke with her enough to where I could tell when she was not being truthful or when she was 100% telling the truth about whatever you asked her.
But it was important for you to get to the truth.
It was, yeah.
I assume because the subject matter was so close to you?
Correct.
Okay. And it took a lot of work for you to get her to confess to you, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of emotional work?
Yeah.
Literally financial work?
No, not financially, but I mean, it took a toll on me to
Well,
talk
you
to.
sent her money, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, so I know that her confession is not only important to this case, but important to you because it got you to the truth of what happened to your father. I'm going to ask you just a couple questions about your relationship with her. I don't want you to think I'm coming at you or anything. Again, this is just the court needs to know.
Understood.
So you texted and called Sarah Lucas, right?
Correct.
Was that about over the course of a month or two?
Yeah, that seems right.
Okay. Did y'all communicate often?
Yeah. for
Okay.
a
So
short
you
period
built
of
a
time.
relationship with her,
I did.
correct? And you said sometimes she would text about money, correct? She was poor.
Yeah,
Okay. And you'd send her money?
correct.
Okay. And you felt like she started to trust you more because of this?
Not just because of that, but that was just one part of the whole scheme of things.
I gotcha. But you felt like she started to open up to you more over about a month or two, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you had mentioned that she also was on drugs, correct?
Pain medicine,
Pain
but
medicine?
prescription, yeah.
How did you know that?
Just, we talked about a lot of stuff at night. But I knew she got out of the hospital, had some issues with her feet, and she was having a nurse come by and change her wounds like once a week. So, and she complained about the medicine was not strong enough.
Okay. Did you ever speak to her when she was on drugs?
Yeah, I imagine she was always on her pain medicine, but I mean, she would be normal. There was only one time I can tell that she probably was elevated.
Okay. Have you had experience with someone that was high before being on drugs?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Okay. And you would say that it's pain medicine, maybe not coherent or talking quickly?
Yeah, excited, yeah.
Okay. How would you describe Sarah during that conversation? If she was on drugs, in your opinion?
Very different, more talkative, definitely hyper. Mentioned, it was just a total different conversation with her. She talked about how attractive I was, and then she brought up my wife, just things that never happened when we, rest of the conversations.
Did she seem like almost a totally different person?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. How did she seem during her confession? Did you have a perception she was on drugs?
No,
Okay.
I caught her in the morning.
Is that based on, again, your experience with people being on drugs and your relationship with her previously?
Not experience with people being on drugs, but I would say when you talk to somebody that many times in a row, you get a pattern, and I could tell that, this was also in the morning time when she was getting ready to go to the doctor, so I assumed that she was fairly straight then.
Okay. I just want to transition real quickly from that to the money.
Okay.
So we've already established that she maybe was in need of money. We've already established she sent money. We've talked about the book deal. So when you and her were discussing the book deal, she had a perception she was going to get some money from that, correct?
Yeah.
Initially, was it $8,000?
I don't remember exact amount, but it was something like that.
When you initially said an amount, did she seem willing to speak to you for that amount?
Yeah, but it kept going. I was always pushing. This is only going to be about your mom, but the whole purpose of this was also to keep it to where if I needed to bring in an investigator, that they would have a line of that they could sit down and talk to her and question her and she wouldn't be spooked. So I think we started out. It was something like $8,000.
Did that amount go up to $15,000 offer at some point?
Yeah, she got greedy. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to transition one more time. Now I want to discuss the records in this case. So you said that you had received files in this case from Mr. Gishner.
I did.
Did you receive any files from any other source?
No,
Okay, so what you reviewed was all from Mr. Gishner, correct?
it was.
Okay. Did you ever have conversations with Mr. Gishner about the case after you received the files?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like you ever received an impression from Mr. Gishner about the case?
I mean, I knew what team he was on.
Yeah. Fair enough. Do you feel like he ever gave you any impression about the information in the records, or maybe led you to an idea?
No, not at all.
So, after having reviewed the files, you knew details about what had happened to your father, correct?
Correct.
When you were speaking with Sarah, were you ever the first person to tell her one of those details from the record?
Yeah, I'm sure I was. Yeah.
Okay. Well, conversely, do you feel like Sarah was ever the first person to mention one of those details?
Yeah, you had to listen to everything, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that,
Anything that comes up just right off the bat?
yeah, like the morning of the funeral, not about her wanting to go to the funeral, but they were out getting Chinese food, driving around in the truck, and then they were supposed to go do something else, but she just decided to go home, Sarah. So Tammy dropped her off, and then Tammy later got picked up while driving the truck. So she missed that by an hour.
What about the rug in the washing machine? Do you remember who was the first person to mention that?
I don't know. I don't know how we came to that.
Fair enough. If I said Sarah?
I would assume that would have been, yeah.
Okay. Whenever you spoke to Sarah on the phone, did you record all of the conversations with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Except, well, yeah, the first one messed up,
Okay.
and then I had to turn it off.
Did you ever provide some or all of those recordings to Mr. Gishner?
I did. I don't know what point I did that. I don't know if I went to y'all first and then gave it to him. I don't recall.
But you did provide eventually to him and to the state?
Correct.
Okay. Did either party get all the tapes that you made?
Yes. Yeah, I think they did.
I think so, okay. If not, just so I'm clear for the record, if that was possible that either party didn't get either tape, is there a reason for that? Maybe it didn't say anything important, or it was just shooting the...
I think at first I only gave y'all the main one because that, was all that mattered. And then of course the second to last had some kind of bolder stuff that, there she was bringing up with Andrew and my dad. And so I was like, I don't want that to be heard. But yeah, it was more like I figured I gave you the most important stuff. But eventually I gave everything over.
Okay, I actually do want to end on something, and then I'll be done. So, we already established that you believed her confession, partly because she gave incorrect details previously, you had reason to not trust her, and we've already established that you built a relationship with her. So, do you feel like establishing a relationship with her helped in whether or not you believed her?
No. I mean, I hated her the moment I talked to her. Every time I'd get physically sick after we got done talking. I mean, I knew everything that I knew from the case files and obviously from the trial. I knew everything. So I was the best informed when I talked to her. I mean, so if she was off, if she was lying about something, I was able to pick up on it right then and there.
Gotcha. Well, let me actually clarify that. When you build a relationship with other people, do you feel like you are more likely to catch them in a lie?
Yeah. You know their patterns, yeah.
Based on your experience with them, your relationship with them?
Sure.
Okay, no further questions.
Mr. Gishman, additional question?
Just a few follow-up questions.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harris, is it accurate that everything that you gave to me from the recording, you also gave to the district attorney's office?
Correct.
my recollection, you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think you gave it to them first.
I thought that was right, yeah. I think I held out on you for a while.
Some of these numbers that were thrown around, the $8,000, the $15,000, Sarah was never paid any of that money, was she?
I want to say she got $70, $80.
Yeah.
Which that, you send that to the person that murdered your father, that's a lot of money.
You were asked some questions about our discussions and if that would influence your thinking. Let me ask it this way. Could I convince you to believe anything that you don't believe?
No, not at all. And I mean, you and I have argued on this for a long time, and every time I hung up, I said, damn, he's wrong. He has no idea.
We're friends now.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one last thing that I didn't ask about before. Did Sarah ever express any remorse about the fact that Andrew has served all this time in prison for some reason?
No, gone. She thought he belonged there because I think her last comment was, well, he did bad stuff. He did drugs and woman beat her or something like that. I'm like, okay, so get life in prison for that? Okay, appreciate that.
And you know from his record, there was no evidence that he had ever done anything.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Ms. Val?
No.
This has been going on for 20 years now, roughly.
So he was found August 20th, 2007.
2007.
Yeah, so been a
You've gone
minute.
through a lot with Stephen Harris.
I'm sorry?
You've gone through a lot, sir.
Yeah.
We'll offer you my condolences for the loss of your father. This
Thank
is
you.
still an enduring, ongoing journey. I wish I could give you some magical words that would make it better.
Yeah.
Trial did not closure, and apparently, obviously, right now, there's no closure. That's a bad word. When people tell you you get closure, there's never closure when you lose a family member.
Correct.
Even if you and your father were estranged because of his lifestyle that you're trying to correct and waiting on him to call you that says, I'm ready to admit that I need some help, and it never happened. Whatever happens, there will never be closure. Whether it's Lucas, she's now deceased also. And none of this will ever change what happened to you and your family. So I want to offer you my condolences
Thank you.
for your loss. And also offer you my praise for the strength that you have in making sure that you followed this through to its conclusion, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
You're
Judge.
down for the witness stand.
Appreciate it.